If you are tired of your blues rhythm guitar, then you have arrived at the right place. In this lesson we're going to upgrade it. We will take a basic blues guitar shuffle rhythm and with the help of ideas borrowed from Tommy Emmanuel, transform it into something amazing. All ideas that we are gonna use today come from Tommy's version of Guitar Boogie, a song originally written by Arthur Smith. This song has a special place in my heart. It was the first video of Tommy Emmanuel that I have ever seen. It was this particular version. I remember sitting there and watching it and not really understanding what is really happening right in front of me. I have never seen anybody play guitar like that. It sounded as if a whole band was coming out from one tiny acoustic guitar. There was rhythm guitar, lead guitar, bass and drums, there was everything. I was completely fascinated by it and it completely changed my view on what is possible on one acoustic guitar. And with this lesson I want to help you to get some of Tommy's magic into your own playing. I will take you through 5 levels of complexity so you can improve your playing step by step. Ready? Let's go! Let's start by taking a look at the basic 12-bar blues progression. I'm sure you're familiar with it, but just to make sure we are all on the same page. We have 4 bars of E7 chord, 2 bars of A7, 2 bars of E7 again, 1 bar of B7, 1 bar of A7, 1 bar of E7 and then back to B7. We can play this 12-bar blues progression with a simple shuffle rhythm like this. But this can get a little bit boring after a while. Or we can use a simple riff to make it a little bit more interesting, like this. But we are not gonna do any of that. To start off, we will outline the E7 chord with a simple walking bass. That is gonna be level 1. A definition from Wikipedia will tell us that walking bass is a type of bass accompaniment which creates a feeling of regular quarter note movement akin to the regular alteration of feet while walking. In our example, we are not gonna use quarter notes, but we will use 8 notes to outline the chords. E7 chord consists of notes E, G sharp, B and D. So we can use these notes to outline the E7 chord. A very common move is also to include the 6th note of the chord, which is gonna be the note C sharp. So our first walking bass riff is going to look something like this. Since this bass line lasts for 2 bars, we need to play it twice over E7 chord to fill 4 bars. On A7 we will do the same thing, just starting on A string. Then we come back to E7 and repeat the same line, just finishing on open A string, so we can play the note B on the 2nd fret of A string as the first note of B7 chord. On B7 we could play a bunch of different lines, but we will use the one Tommy plays in Guitar Boogie, which goes like this. And on the last 2 bars we will play following turnaround. I've added 2 chords at the end, C9 over G and B9 over F sharp, to give it a little bit more drive, and it will nicely lead us back to the beginning. I really love the sound of these inversions at the end of a 12-bar blues cycle. To me it sounds much better than C9 to B9. So these are the first 12 bars, let's listen how it all sounds together. But there is more. Let's continue with level 2. We'll use the same walking bass, but use few embellishments here and there to make it come a little bit more alive. Here is the embellished E7 line. I think that those slides just make it much more interesting than playing it just straight. When we played the riff the second time around, we changed the note E at the top to the D to make a little bit more tension going into A7. On A7 we obviously play the same thing and then we come back to E7. Everything's the same, just a little bit of spice here and there to make it more interesting. And on B7 we will use the same line, just embellishing it at the end with a slide and pull off. And we will finish it off with two chords that Tommy often plays in those last two bars. First is G13 played like this. So it's like G7 just with E and B string open. And then we move it 2 frets up, which make it an A9 chord. So the last 4 bars sound like this. If we put it all together, it sounds like this. Pretty sweet, right? Let's take it up a notch and embellish this riff even more. This is level 3. To make it a little bit more interesting, we're going to include a chord at the beginning of each riff. So instead of playing just 2 open E strings, we grab the E7 chord and we will play open E string, and then on the upstroke we hit the chord to get a little bit more volume into this riff, and it will start to sound more like a guitar and less like a bass guitar. And after the chord, we'll continue with the rest of the bass line. Now at the end of the 4th bar of E7, we will hit A chord to get a little bit of syncopation into our riff. It will sound like this. And then we continue with the bass line, and on top we will do 3 bends from F sharp to G to make it a little bit more interesting. I love it. And then back to E7. And on the B7 we will play the same thing as before, but with a chord at the beginning. And we will finish with different turnaround this time. That will take us to E7 here in 5th position, where the level 4 begins. So that is E7 to G to A to D7 to D sharp 7 to E7. So the whole thing sounds like this. Let's do level 4, shall we? We are now here in the 5th position and we will play the E7 chord, but with E and B string open. It's still the E7, but we just have the open E and B. Again, we will do the same thing as before. We hit the bass note and then on the upstroke we will play the chord. And then we will continue with the walking bass. The walking bass is the same, just in different spot, okay? So it's... Take notice that on each upstroke, when I play the walking bass here, I play muted strings. Okay, that's E7. Now A7 is interesting. We start on G sharp 7 on last upstroke of E chord and then move it up a fret to get A7 and then continue with the walking bass, and at the top we will play G chord in C shape, and then we come back. And now we are back in E7 again, and then we will climb from G sharp 7 to B7. And now we are on B7, and we will play the same bass line as before, just in different position like this. And now turn around, starting on E7. So that's E7 to E7 over G sharp. Then we move these two fingers back. Then we move the whole shape back, one fret, which is like B9 over F sharp, and then to E7, and again those two chords. Or we can even play it without holding the B string. Now the whole level 4 altogether will sound like this. Okay, let's move to the final level, level 5. And now I'm not going to show you yet another way how to play over 12-bar blues in E, but what we will try is to combine and mix all those previous ideas that we have learned into something new. There are many ways how to accomplish this, but let's examine one so that you can better understand how we apply what we have learned today. We will start with a walking bass that we have learned in level 3, but I'm not going to use the whole movement, just the first half. Since this riff is shorter, I will play it 3 times, and then to go from E7 to A7, I will use a chromatic movement from F sharp 7 to G sharp 7 to A. It's a very similar movement that we've used before to approach to the B7 chord. So it will sound like this. On A7 I might repeat the same melody. And then back to E7. I can continue here since I'm already in the position. And then continue with the B7 here and finish it the same as level 4. So this is one example how I can do it. Or I can take the bass line from E7 downwards to B7 and do something like this. The options are limitless here. This is just one way how you can mix and match this riff to create something fresh and new. You can use the whole 12 bars and play the same, or you can use bits and pieces and create your own thing. You can use the same idea, just play it backwards. Or you can use the same rhythm, just fill different notes. As I said, the options are limitless. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson, and I hope you have learned something new. I sincerely believe that this will help you a lot to improve your blues rhythm guitar. Thank you for watching, and thanks Tommy for inspiration. Wish you all the best. Keep rocking.